Is world known, and he is very humble when I highlight his notoriety and his reputation. But I have had the opportunity, pleasure, and honor to serve with him in uniform. And he is one who is definitely challenges all of us to be better each and every day. Lieutenant General In-Bum Chun is a retired Lieutenant General from the ROK Army. And he has served his country both with honor and integrity for over 4 decades of uniformed service. General Chun retired in 2016 after a distinguished service in the South Korean Army. And during his military career, which started in 1978 at the Korean Military Academy, he ascended to positions of leadership that included the Chief of Election Support Branch of the Civil Military Affairs and Strategic Operations Director of the Multinational Forces of Iraq. He's been the Director of U.S. Affairs at the Military of National Defense here in Korea. I served with him when he was the Deputy Assistant Secretary and Chief of Staff of Operations for the ROK U.S. Combined Forces Command. He has been the Commander of the ROK Special Warfare Command and the Deputy Commander of the 1st ROK Army, leading the nation's defense. General Chun is a holder of 3 U.S. Legions of Merit, the U.S. Bronze Star Medal, and the U.S. SOCOM Medal, as well as many, many more. Sir, I know you're a very humble leader, but he has been recognized extensively. His interest and expertise in national defense and security policy saw him awarded positions that included the Visiting Fellow at the Center for East Asia Policy Studies at Brookings Institute in the United States, the Visiting Researcher at the U.S. Korea Institute of SETS in Johns Hopkins University, and as a Visiting Fellow at the Sam Nunn School of International Affairs in Georgia Tech. Currently, General Chun is serving as the Senior Vice President of both the Association of the United States Army, or AUSA for Korea chapter, and the U.S. Air and Space Force Association, MiG Alley chapter, and is an advisory board member of the National Bureau of Asian Research on the Global Soft and the Global Soft Foundation, and the Global American Business Institute for Korean Modelers Association, as well as a senior contributor for the Asian Society and fellow within the Institute of Kora American Studies. He is a board member for Korean Animal Welfare Association, which advocates for animal rights and human treatment of all animals. And he is not on your bio, but I know he has started a game preserve for Asian bears, both here in Korea as well as in the United States, and trying to save that very important species. In addition to his many roles with various military and defense organizations, he is active social media as a military analyst, and his YouTube channel where he uploads videos discussing defense and security matters related to South Korea and Northeast Asia are world renowned. And in fact, I caught your interview last night on your most recent one. So, sir, it is an honor to welcome you to our forum, and I know you will give us words.
The good news is that my talk is going to be shorter than the introduction. So good morning. Let me first thank the organizing committee for inviting me to speak and for welcoming me to the NTC APAC conference. I would also like to welcome all of you to Korea. Unfortunately, Korea faces a chemical and biological weapons threat from a very serious adversary who has shown its weapons capability and intent to use chemical weapons. Although the world is focused on the threat of nuclear war, we must be conscious of the fact that chemical weapons have been used to kill and maim innocent civilians and to conduct military operations despite the best efforts of many good men and women, such as you. For me, I have a unique insight into chemical weapons, which I would like to share with you. In 1983, during the height of the Cold War, I was a young officer in the Korean military. and was serving as the aide to the Korean chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. One day, we had an event that had no location, but a block of time was designated personal time. I was told not to ask questions and that all arrangements would be taken care of. My general and I were flown to an area and were bused to our final destination, but all the windows were covered with curtains. As we arrived, we were met by what looked like doctors with white gowns. It was a chemical weapons facility. During our tour, they took us to a testing room where a cat was in a transparent box. It looked like a plastic box. They explained the effects of nerve agents and demonstrated it by injecting nerve gas into the box. I have never seen anything like that in my life. The hair of the cat all stood up, and it seemed as if the cat exploded. So it's not like in the movies. It bled and vomited from every part of its body. It was dead within seconds. Then the alarm bell started to ring that signified that a leak was occurring. Everyone but the stupid young lieutenant stepped back. My boss was really shaken and yanked me from the display. Then they took us to a blister agent demonstration. It's too early in the morning to share with you what I saw, but suffice to say that such weapons should never be used, and yet here we are. I was too dumb, but my boss was shaken instead of being impressed. Sometimes, during the course of our line of work, we forget what this is all about. This is why I share this story with you today, because we're trying to prevent the use of such weapons and protect the innocent. Whatever your job is, do it. If you are here to sell, sell it. If you see something that you need to do your job, fight the bureaucracy to get the money and get it. Training is as important as equipment. Remember that. It's not just the hardware. It's the knowledge and the training tools that the Korean military needs. The Korean government has abandoned the development and use of such weapons, and yet we are faced with an adversary with not only nuclear weapons, but a great deal of chemical weapons, which is probably why North Korea has so many multiple rocket launchers. And so the nightmare continues. In closing, I would like to share a quote from a German poet and playwright named Bertolt Brecht. He said, "Do not rejoice in its defeat, you men. For though the world has stood up and stopped the bastard, the bitch that bore him is in heat again." Thank you.
Some very vivid comments and mental images. That has not shocked us to our core. You and I have often talked about this is not something that is hypothetical or theoretical. It is something that we live with today and have under the threat umbrella, particularly here in North Korea of today. Why do you believe that we have not embraced this idea of better preparedness and readiness to deal with this threat?
I just believe that it is human nature to be unaccepting the horrors of the inevitable. So we don't think about death every day, and we don't think about war. And that's exactly why we have war in the first place. But for us in uniform, for us in this field of work, our job is to do exactly what the majority of other people are spared from doing. So we must take our jobs very seriously. And again, you know, some of you are here to sell a product, but this is not a washing machine. This is something that will save lives and prevent catastrophes. So I think even the products as business people, you know, it's different. But for the people here in the military, I wore the uniform for 38 years. I fought bureaucracy. It's worse than the enemy. But we must fight it. If you see a product here that you feel is needed, we must fight for that product. And damn the torpedoes.
Ladies and gentlemen, open the floor for questions.
$5 a question.
So I do not understand they're shy, they need more caffeine. But it is my honor, though, to present to you a coin that you have earned time and time again, and to thank you for being a zealot advocate for this mission like no other. So thank you.